What up, though, everybody? Welcome back to Daily Upside. It's your boy Keenan Rivals here with some look. Today's not a good day. After what transpired yesterday, today's not a good day. It's hard to have energy right now. Typically, we lead this show off with the athletic, with some NBA news, some NBA details. I'm not doing that today. I'm taking a day off from the NBA. Let's get into the show. We're going to start off here with card ladder. I kind of go through this every day, trying to understand what card ladder is and what value it kind of presents to me and to us as a community. Not too much has changed since yesterday. I did see this LeBron James card jumped up 952 spots. I have no idea why. Maybe it sold for a ton of money. For whatever reason, it jumped up. It is a beautiful card, and it's now the number one card on card ladder. Giannis's rookie here from Court Kings is sitting at number two. And, we got some football. Football is doing pretty good, it seems. And boom, I noticed this card. You guys know I rock with Ben Simmons. Man, I was super shocked to see this card jump up so much. It jumped up like thousands of spots. And you guys know I used to own a lot of Ben Simmons cards. I did some podcasts about him, some blog posts, a lot of Instagram content. His Prism Silver card has always been one of my favorite. He's one of the only, players on the market who's kind of like locked into that upper deck contract, similar to LeBron. He has no autograph cards or Panini. And that means he has no immaculate or no, exquisite collection, at least not a rookie. I'm sorry, he has an exquisite. He has no national treasures, rookie auto patches. So that really makes his Prism card like the top card. And yesterday it sold for $2,375. Now I don't know. Let's see. The last one sold for 1,600. So that's a big jump. That's like peak Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons at his peak over the last 3 months, topped out about $2,900. So for this card to hit that price point just shows that there's a lot of optimism within this market or within Ben Simmons. Him having a new coach, kind of seeing that the Eastern Conference is pretty much up for grabs. I think that led a lot of people to buying this card. And I think that's going to continue to happen as the weeks go on, as the months go on. We're going to start seeing like some cards kind of get back to those all-time highs, kind of get back to those high price points. And for me, it's no coincidence that Ben Simmons is hitting this price point. And he's like the Sixers are really the only team with off-season news, like hiring Doc Rivers, just talking about how they're going to be great and looking at their overall potential. So I don't think that's a coincidence. I think as more news comes out, we're going to see more prices go up. And shout out to whoever sold this card. Good timing there. I also found out from Card Ladder that LeBron James's Bowman Chrome Refractor, one of my favorite cards, hit a new high yesterday. It sold for $17,100. The previous high was around 15,000. So look, I've made articles about this and podcasts as well. Serial number cards are the play. I know we all go off pop report and total graded circulation, but if you can get a card that's serial number, it's probably going to do well, in the grand scheme of things. So I feel like every time this card is listed, it's probably going to hit a new high just because there's not that many available. And LeBron fans are crazy. Speaking of new highs, I wanted to show you guys an old article I did back on July 8th. This was only for people who are like within the Patreon group. So if you would have spent $4 a month, you would have gotten this article. And essentially what it was talking about was what players were going to do well, during the playoffs. So it's called Shoot or Shoot. And basically what I was trying to write was like, every year in the playoffs, there's always that one guy who's like an elite shooter. It could be Robert Ory, it could be Danny Green, it could be Reggie Miller, or not Reggie Miller, but Ray Allen when he was on the Heat. And I'm like, shooters are going to shoot. That's what the playoffs are for. People are getting big dollars to shoot. So I wrote out like 5 guys that I thought were going to be great in terms or could have a chance to like really show out in the playoffs. Now, one of those guys was Terence Davis. I thought he had a good chance of, making the Raptors team and really showing off what he could do. I think I also put in the article that, even if he didn't play well, he was just so cheap that it could bode well for you to invest in him. Then we went through Korkmaz, but we're not going to talk about the Sixers because they absolutely, things didn't go well for them. You know what I mean? I'm not going to say they suck. And then we get to Tyler Hero. So, if you would have paid $4 for this, you would have been able to get some really good value buying Tyler Hero. I talked about his select court side at $40, which is a steal. I think that card's going for a couple hundred now. And I talked about, his mosaic, which I thought was a really good value at $3 because you just can't find Chrome cards for that cheap anymore. So that would have went a long way. And then there was Duncan Robinson. So if you did watch the game, he went off last night, and his cards are, really really cheap. Duncan Robinson doesn't have many rookie cards. So I talked about his national treasures, which I kind of put like, $200 was a lot of money to invest in him, just for a jump shooter. So I also brought up his Mosaic Silver, which is a second year card, but one of his only silver cards. And if you look at the prices of his Mosaic Silver, you'll see that they've been trending, $50, $21, that they're kind of all over the place, but they're looking like they're about 20 to $50 depending on who's buying them. And, when I wrote this article, that was a $4 card. So just using some common sense there to kind of figure out these plays. We also talked about Chris Middleton. And then if you see down here, I even brought up Jamal Murray, who I thought was going to, potentially break out. So yeah, just kind of showing you guys that there is some value, signing up for the Patreon and being able to get these like a little bit of insight. Obviously it's kind of late in the playoffs now, so we're just kind of waiting to see who wins. But I do have a lot of content coming, for next season. So, daily upside is really cool. It's going to give you guys a deep dive into what I'm thinking every day. But it's these kind of articles that really get you thinking. And maybe you read this article and Terence Davis isn't your guy, but it kind of gives you the idea of who your guy could be. So just wanted to point that out to show you that buying some of these cheap cards, for $3 or $4 could really be a big play. You could have loaded up on, Duncan Robinson's mosaics, bought them at $4 and sold them at 25 all day. So really good plays there. And I do the same thing with Morning Ben. So this is actually free. You don't have to pay to get this. But if you sign up for the Patreon, you do get like the detailed analysis. And I kind of want to run you guys through that to show you just what's being offered here in terms of, just content. That's what it's all about. So you see, like every day I send out this email where I'll let people know, like, hey, here's 30 cards that I'm looking at that I think could be a good value, and here's why. And this is kind of a 2-for-1. So I'm showing you Morning Bens, but I'm also showing you like why the market cap method is so important. And this is one of its many features. So a lot of people look at this Giannis card and it's $3,000 or 3,200, and they're like, that's just too much money for me. I can't afford that. And what they don't understand is that it's actually a really cheap card if you employ the market cap method. And what it shows you is that Luka's card is $17 million in total market cap, and Giannis is only 7 million. So Luka's card is more than 2 times expensive as Giannis is if you look at the total market cap. Now, what does that mean? Well, that shows you the potential of this card. If the way I kind of explained it in the market cap method was like, if these were companies, Luka's company would be worth 17 million, Giannis company would be worth 7 million. It's up for you to decide who's the better company. But I feel like at this point in time in their career, Giannis should be the better company. Giannis shouldn't be a 2 times cheaper than Luka's company. So what this method shows you, and one of its features is that this card is actually undervalued and it has some room to grow, or Luka's card is overvalued and it needs to come down. Whatever one you decide is up to you, but that's one of the benefits of the market cap method. And that's why I think Giannis is really, really cheap. There's not that many cards going around of his. So if everyone wants a Giannis card, they're going to have to fight for it. There's not 13,000 of them. There's only 2,325. So that's a really good, way to kind of look at the market and kind of make some gauges. And what the market cap method does is it really shows you how to utilize that to your advantage. This is just one of the many ways that it can be used. But this is probably like one of the first thing that it's going to point out, and that's the true value of a card. And then it kind of gives you some more tips and tricks to determine if it's something that you should invest in or not. But based off these numbers alone, you can look at that and say like, hey, that doesn't make sense. And that's the first thing you want to do. So if you're looking to invest in something that's super high end or that's, kind of costly or good store of value, you might want to employ this method to make that decision. So check that out. And yeah, I kind of give some of these away every now and then throughout the email. You'll also see that I talk about like Luka and why he's important, and why this optic hollow of LeBron James might be a good buy long term. So if you haven't signed up for the newsletter, definitely do so. If you haven't signed up for the Patreon, definitely do so because there's a lot of value there. Also, I want to talk about some high end cards. So I'm looking at this and I've already kind of invested in this idea. But have you guys noticed that like Luka's high end cards are dumb expensive? Like this immaculate BGS 9 is, sold for $20,000. That's a lot higher than his Prism Silver, PSA 10. His Prism Silver PSA 10 goes for around 6,000. So we're looking at almost like a 2.5x here for this card. You can see it kind of sells consistently around these price points. I think one sold for like 17,000. And the way I look at this is, and this is another way you can kind of employ the market cap method, is that if Luka's immaculate is going, 2.5 times his Prism Silver, then why isn't anybody else's? Why, if you look at, a Trey Young immaculate, you'll see that the last one here, I think I bought the last one. That's the go. Yeah. So you'll see like these are all first of the line. Well, I don't know where 99's at. It's somewhere in here, but they only go for, here you go. So you'll see this one went for $1,500. Um, why? You know what I mean? That's, if you look at his Prism Silver, it's going for $1,600. Why is Trey Young's Prism Silver PSA 10 going for more than his Immaculate, but then Luka's Immaculate is 2.5 times the price of his Prism Silver? The market doesn't make sense right now, and these are the kind of plays that I search for every day. Like, and obviously, Luka's a upper scale player, so this will only work on superstars. You're not going to be able to buy like Jerome Robinson's Immaculate and compare it to his silver, because that's just never going to work. But if you got somebody like Trey Young, if you got a superstar, if you got somebody like Giannis, if you got somebody like Luka or LeBron, you'll notice that their like rookie auto patches tend to go for more than their Prism Silver cards. And that says a lot. Right now the market isn't educated and everybody's looking at Prism Silver. Like if you're an investor, you're probably looking at Prism Silver. I mean, be honest with yourself. When's the last time you looked up an Immaculate card? So that means the entire market isn't even looking at Immaculate, and Luka is still going 2.5 higher than his Prism. Imagine if the whole market was looking at his Immaculate. These cards have a lot of potential, and the hobby tends to shift. There's trends in the hobby. Right now, Prism Silver is hot, but 5 or 10 years from now, rookie auto patches may be hot. And for me as a long-term investor, I'd much rather have the rookie patch auto number to 99 versus the Prism Silver where there's like 4,000 or 5,000 copies in circulation. So that's some more food for thought. Kind of use that to your advantage. Look up these higher end cards of higher end players and then compare them to, lower, higher end cards of lower end players. And you might be able to find some gaps. And again, that's something the market cap method helps you figure out as well. It's going to help you figure out what's underrated. It's going to help you figure out some gaps. And it's made me a ton of money, utilizing this method. So if you haven't picked it up, I definitely recommend it. It's going to give you some great insight. Last but not least, I do want to shout out everybody on the Patreon that supports me. You guys have been rocking with me from day one. So a lot of this stuff you already know. So sorry if this episode's a little redundant, but I wanted to just show some people, how we can find different plays in this market and what kind of stuff we're doing over in the Discord. So with the season coming back up, the off season for that matter, I'm thinking that things are going to ramp up here pretty quickly. Once LeBron finally closes this game, once Jimmy Butler stops being a superstar and ruining Kobe's legacy, then we'll be able to get back into these plays, into speculation, and really finding these undervalued opportunities. And look, other people who are buying the course, they're already doing it. People have been hitting me up. It's been getting great feedback. They're already rocking with it. So if you haven't joined the membership or the Patreon, if you haven't picked up the course, it might be a good idea to do so. I think it's going to be a good investment. I'm willing to bet you'll make your money back. People make their money back off their first play. So let me know what you guys think about this episode, about the market cap method, about these finds. Let me know what you think about Ben Simmons going for $2,375. That's a play. But that's it for this one, guys. As always, happy investing, and I will see you tomorrow.